Emily Zwire, and today I'm going to go over one of the first things that I teach lifters, and that's about your core, creating a nice vacuum, bracing, and all about how that protects your spine. So first of all, we got to go over what a stacked spine or keeping your spine neutral looks like and how you should position yourself. So this all translates into any time that you have weight on your back, so when you're squatting, when you're deadlifting, when you're doing any type of athletic movement, the more that you can apply a neutral spine, this vacuum seal, the more you're going to get out of your performance because you're using your abdomen, you're using all the muscles in your core. So first of all, standing tall, you're going to naturally have this S shape in your spine, but we want to try and create as stacked of a vertebrae as possible so that we don't have this overarching and we don't have this rounding effect at the spine, and we're not loading either flexion or extension too much, which can cause a lot of different injuries or a lot of different compensation patterns. So we'll get your chin back a lot of times just from posture throughout the day, whether it be looking down at your phone, looking down at whatever's out in front of you. A lot of people get this forward head lean, which puts a lot of stress on the neck and the upper traps. So think about keeping your chin kind of tucked back. Pull your shoulders down your back. So we're not just pinching the shoulder blades back, we're pulling them down as well. And then we're getting this vacuum seal at the abdomen here. So right at the bottom of your abs or at the bottom of your rib cage is your diaphragm. So we're trying to create this seal over what a lot of people call the vacuum of your torso. So the diaphragm is like your lid that we're trying to seal this vacuum with. So when we're going into talking about this vacuum, I don't want to see this kind of hunch forward trying to seal it down. We're going to still think sternum stays up because we're keeping those shoulders back in that tall, neutral, stacked spine position. And then at the bottom here though, we're just trying to create pressure. So right here, you'll see my hand right here. As I create this pressure down, you'll see that expand out. So I'm creating this pressure downwards towards my pelvis. And then right at my pelvis, I'm going to try and line that up with the rest of my spine as well. So in order to do that, you can just squeeze your butt. So a lot of people have this anterior pelvic tilt, a lot of times going with the posture thing. A lot of sitting can cause the hip flexors to shorten and create this anterior pelvic tilt, which puts a lot of strain on the lower back and can also make you feel like your hamstrings are always constantly tight. So squeezing your butt, that's going to pull your pelvis kind of underneath you for a lot of people and neutralize your pelvic positioning and your lumbar spine positioning in that stacked good position. So what a good stacked spine with good posture will look like. So transferring this into going under the bar for a squat, going and putting into a deadlift position. All of this is going to look like this. So chin is back, shoulders are tucked down your back. We're neutralizing and pressuring down at the bottom of the ribs to seal the lid. And then that pelvic floor, that's going to be the bottom. So think about squeezing your butt to pull that pelvis neutral. Got that pressure down, and that's a good position to be in for whatever weight-bearing activity you're going to be doing. So I got a few exercises that are really great at teaching these positions and training and challenging them. So we're going to go over dead bug. So anytime we're talking dead bug, I want position here with your knees and your hips are at 90 degrees. Your toes are pulled back towards your face, and then your arms are going right up above your shoulders. The whole point of this exercise is to feel your lower back stay completely flat against the floor. So you're not having any part. A lot of times people will go into this big arch on the floor. Again, going back to that posture and those tight hips. So you're gonna have to think about that bottom of your rib cage pressuring down into the floor. So push that ribs down, closing that lid to the vacuum. And then same thing with your pelvic floor. We're trying to keep that facing that seal of the lid and keeping that vacuum. So the first dead bug progression is going to be a 90-degree heel tap. So we're gonna keep the knee bent at 90 degrees. You're gonna inhale, tap the floor with your heel, and then exhaling when you come back up. So the whole time, I'm trying to push down, pressurizing here, getting that brace. Working on maintaining that pelvic positioning the whole time. So I'm inhaling and exhaling back up. You'll feel that the other leg's hip flexor is working to keep that hip up and active. A lot of times with tight hips, you also have weak hips. So these are good exercises to actually start working those hip flexors. So the next progression to that first dead bug is you're going to extend your leg all the way out to the ground. So you're inhaling, still again maintaining that flat back against the floor. Tapping down to the ground and exhaling back up to bring it back to that first starting position. So you're going back, keeping that brace tight against the ground, inhaling, exhaling and bringing it back up. And then the next progression after that is going to be challenging the core and adding another degree of where it has to try to not extend. So we're challenging the core as it's an anti-extension muscle, and we're going to bring that arm back to the ground, and we're going to extend the opposite leg. So we're going to inhale, extend out, tap the floor, exhale and bring it back up. Inhale, keeping that back completely against the ground, and exhale, bring it back up. So we're trying to always apply that pressure down to the ground. So that is kind of the start to progressing with the dead bug. There's a lot of other variations that you can start building off of. This is what is going to be great for beginners, to really teaching those positions and learning how to maintain your spine in that good stacked position, to keeping everything in your back, everything in your hips safe, but also really helping with your performance the most. You're going to get the most out of this because you are in the right positions, using the right muscles, and working the right way. When you have the right mechanics, you won't get injured, which means you can keep progressing with your weight. You can keep getting stronger without having to take time off because you have a nagging knee or a hip that's bugging you or your lower back's hurting. So these things are what's going to keep you safe, but it's also going to lead to way better performance in the long run. So start working on your dead bug and see your performance really start to